Hi, my name's Gordon and I'm here to show you the new spreadsheets from Required Dental Systems which help you measure your compliance with both infection control and the full CQC audit. What you're looking at here is the main screen of the software. As you can see, we call this how good is our practice, as it's a measure, a percentage of how compliant you are with the various standards and criteria. On the screen here, you will see on the column down here are a list of all of the standards that will be audited for infection control. And there's a similar spreadsheet for the full CQC audit with the 28 outcomes for the CQC audit. The second column in here, if we're looking at, shows whether the data for that particular standard has been entered in full. If data has not been entered, it says no. If the full data has been entered, it says yes. The next column shows our level of compliance in that particular standard, and at the bottom you'll see there's an average total compliance. These are percentages and they're measured as a percentage of the number of criteria which are compliant. Finally, here we have a graph, a quick way to get a visual impression on how compliant we are on all 7 standards, or again in the full CQC audit all 28 standards. Let's have a look then at how we actually use this. Anything on the screen which is underlined is a link, and by clicking on that link it will take you to another screen of the software. So if we go to the user notes here, click on that, and it takes us to a page of notes here which gives us information on how to use this compliance measurement audit tool. On every one of the screens there will be a link to take you back to the main screen, and we click on that, it takes us back there. So let's look at how we enter the data then for one of these standards. We'll just take the first one here. Clicking on there opens up a grid which shows us the criteria here, and there's a column here for whether we are compliant, not compliant, or whether this criteria is not applicable in our particular situation. There's also a box here where we can make a comment if necessary. All you have to do is put a 1 in the appropriate column to show whether you're compliant, not compliant, or it's not applicable. If we scroll down the screen, you'll see that all the 36 criteria for this particular standard are listed. Now you'll notice that most of them already have something filled in, but these 2 here are blank, and we highlight this by showing them in blue. If there is no data entered for a particular criteria, it shows in blue. So let's just say we better put our data in and say no, we're not compliant here, so we'll put a 1 in here, and we'll put a 1 in here. And as soon as you do that, you'll notice that the colour changes from blue to white. Also, if you by mistake put in 2 1s, so for instance if you put a 1 in there and a 1 in there, which you can't do, you can't be both compliant and not compliant, it'll go red to show there's a mistake there. So if we go back and change that back to there, it changes back to white. Taking us back to the main screen, you'll have noticed then that this now says that data entry is complete, whereas before it said no, and our compliance is now changed to 91%, and the graph has been updated. You'll notice that the compliance here are colour coded. We use a traffic light scheme where green means that the satisfactory level of compliance, amber means there's still some work to do, and red means that the compliance is not satisfactory. The thresholds for red, amber and green can be set within the software. By clicking on this link here, you can see that anything which is 90% or above is green, anything that's 80 to 90% is amber, and anything less than 80% compliant would be red. You can change these, and you can decide yourself for your own particular situation what you want to measure as red, amber and green. So let's say I decide I want to make this up to 98% compliance for green. If I do that and then go back to the main screen, you'll notice now that these ones here which were previously green at 90% have now gone amber. This main page of the spreadsheet can be printed out, and if you have multiple practices and you want to keep a track of the level of compliance across various practices, this is a good way just to print out summary sheets so at a glance you can see how compliant your various practices are for the various standards being audited. This software is written using the Excel package, and Excel is available in Microsoft Office, both on the PC and Apple Macintosh, and it works with all versions of Excel. We can save our spreadsheets as we go along, and in my particular example here, we just click on the Save button up here and we can save a copy of our spreadsheet. So that's it. How good is our practice compliance measurement spreadsheet? A quick way of getting a measure of your compliance against either infection control audit standards or the full CQC. Thank you.